Elegant Wabi Sabi garden design with natural furniture and bamboo fences. In a world that rushes forward, always chasing perfection and feeding an endless appetite for consumption, there exists a gentler rhythm, a quiet presence, a garden that breathes with the earth. This is the essence of Wabi Sabi design, a philosophy born in Japan, steeped in centuries of wisdom, whispering to us that beauty is not in flawless lines, but in the tender cracks, the softened edges, the marks of time itself. It tells us to look closer, to notice the uneven, the weathered, the spaces where nature has left her fingerprints. In the Wabi Sabi garden, we do not conquer nature, we listen to it. Every stone, every shadow, every breath of wind has a place here. Asymmetry is not an accident, it is a story. Rough textures are not neglect, they are truth. Earthy tones are not dull, they are the palette of the living world. Here the bamboo fence stands, not as a wall, but as a quiet companion. Bamboo is unlike the coldness of metal or the stiffness of synthetic barriers. It holds a softness, a graceful strength. Its honeyed hue and natural variations speak of life and movement. Each stalk bends but does not break, reminding us of resilience. A bamboo fence in this setting does not declare ownership of space, it defines it gently, allowing air and light to pass through, allowing the song of crickets, the scent of earth after rain, to drift in and out without obstruction. Some fences are tightly aligned, creating privacy like the embrace of cupped hands. Others are loosely woven, letting glimpses of the world beyond dance between the gaps. Time itself is the most patient artisan here. Under sun and rain, bamboo fades, slowly turning from gold to silver grey, and rather than mourn the change, we welcome it. It is the living proof of Wabi Sabi's truth. Nothing lasts, nothing is finished, nothing is perfect. With each passing year, the bamboo gains a patina, a softness, a wisdom in its fibers, reminding us that aging is not decay, but deepening character. Within these gentle boundaries, we find the presence of natural furniture, not the glossy showroom pieces, not the mass-produced uniformity of catalogues, but objects that seem to have grown from the land itself. A bench shaped by driftwood's long voyage in the sea, a stool carved from a single weather-worn stone, a table formed from reclaimed timber, its grain telling a story older than the garden itself. These are not just places to sit, they are invitations to pause, to rest your palms on surfaces worn smooth by both time and touch, to feel the grounding weight of the earth beneath you. They sit low, close to the soil, not to dominate the view, but to belong to it. Fabrics, when they appear, are of raw cotton, linen, wool, neutral in tone, soft to the hand, without sheen, without glare. Everything here follows the curve of feeling, not the rigidity of fashion. In the planting, restraint is the purest form of respect. Rather than gardens bursting with curated perfection, you might find a solitary bonsai, bent yet proud. A quiet ring of hostas holding cool shadows in their leaves. A single flowering branch placed as though it had simply fallen there. Every plant chosen, not to impress, but to evoke. Paths do not lead, they wander. Stepping stones slightly uneven, gravel that crunches beneath each step, inviting you to slow, to feel each moment beneath your feet. A trail might curve unexpectedly, leading to a secluded bench or to a water feature so subtle you only hear it before you see it. Water, when it speaks in a Wabi Sabi garden, speaks in whispers. Perhaps it is the steady drip of a bamboo spout into a stone basin. Perhaps the still surface of a shallow pool, holding the reflection of passing clouds. And so, this garden is not built merely for the eyes, it is built for the soul. It is a place where stillness has a shape, where quiet feels like company, where the passing of time is not a thief, but a gift giver. A garden like this, with its natural furniture and its bamboo fences weathering under sun and moon, becomes more than a place to visit. It becomes a poem you can walk through, an ode to honesty, to stillness, to the tender elegance of nature as it is. When you step once more into the Wabi Sabi garden, the air feels different. It is not just the scent of earth or the faint perfume of moss after rain. It is the way the space speaks to you without words. Here, design is not a display, it is a conversation between the human hand and the natural world. Every element has been placed not for show, but for meaning. The weathered rock at the corner of the path is not random, it leans slightly as if bowing to greet you. The patch of wild grass near the water basin is not untended, it is left to grow because its gentle sway catches the light at dawn. This is a garden shaped by patience. It does not reveal itself all at once. With every visit, your eyes discover something new. A shadow pattern on the fence you never noticed. The way a single leaf holds a drop of water until it falls with a soft tap. Bamboo fences by now have taken on their own personality. The golden sheen of youth has mellowed. Soft silver tones ripple along their lengths. In the joints and ties, fibers have loosened, just enough to let time leave its mark. Each knot of twine, weathered but still holding, becomes a reminder that strength is not in resisting change but in adapting to it. Some fences are framed with horizontal rails giving the structure a rhythm, others stand simply upright canes in the soil, some are bound in patterns, crossing over like woven cloth. Each style has its own voice, but all share the same humility. And then the natural furniture calls to you again. In the morning light, the grain of the timber bench seems deeper, the shadows along the stone stool are sharper, the driftwood table feels cooler beneath your fingertips. There is no rush to use these pieces. They exist as much for looking as for sitting. Their beauty is in their readiness, always prepared to welcome, but never demanding. A garden like this shapes your body language. You do not stride here, you arrive slowly. You do not drop into the seat, you settle into it. Your hands, instead of checking a phone, trace the edge of the table, feeling where the wood dips and rises. And the longer you sit, the more you notice the tiny details, the quiet vibration of bamboo in the breeze, the scent of damp stone beneath you. The planting is deliberate, yet appears effortless. A patch of moss spreads across the base of a lantern, softening its weight. A single camellia blooms against a weathered fence, its petals almost too perfect, so that their fall becomes a small, beautiful tragedy. In one corner, a young maple stands, leaves trembling as though aware of their fleeting life. Paths, too, are part of the storytelling. They twist, they narrow, sometimes they vanish into the grass, only to reappear when you've slowed enough to find them again. The unevenness is intentional, each step an invitation to be aware of your footing, each turn an encouragement to let go of control and trust where the path will lead. The soundscape of the garden is as carefully composed as its form. You hear the crunch of gravel, the rustle of leaves, the hollow drip of water into stone. These are not background noises. They are the garden speaking, marking time in gentle syllables. And with every passing moment, you understand the truth of Wabi Sabi more deeply. Perfection here is not the absence of flaw. It is the harmony between all the imperfect parts. It is the fence leaning just enough to suggest it has stood through storms. It is the stone seat wearing the polish of countless visitors' touch. It is the plant that blooms irregularly, making its rare flowers all the more treasured. In the modern world, gardens are often made to impress from the first glance, bursting with symmetry, colour and control. But the Wabi Sabi garden turns its gaze inward. Its beauty comes in whispers, in the way it grows older without fear, in the way it gives space for the seasons to speak. By the time you leave, you feel quieter inside. Your eyes are tuned differently. You begin to notice, outside the garden walls, the cracks in the pavement, the grain of the wooden door, the way sunlight fades unevenly across a wall. You start to see that Wabi Sabi is not just a design philosophy, it is a way of being, and the garden is its most tender teacher. As you enter again, the Wabi Sabi garden greets you not with spectacle, but with familiarity, a familiarity that deepens each time you walk these paths. It is not the kind of space that demands you notice it, instead it quietly allows you to arrive, to belong. The bamboo fence, now seasoned further by sun and rain, carries a subtle fragrance, a mix of dry wood and fresh air. Its colour, once bright and new, now shimmers with muted shades of grey and pale brown, like the hair of a wise elder. Some slats are slightly warped, some ties have darkened, But none of this feels like neglect. It feels like the garden has been breathing all these months, absorbing the changes and folding them gently into its story. Beyond the fence, the furniture waits. Each piece is less an object and more a presence. The driftwood bench, for example, its curves moulded by years of water's touch, now carries the warmth of countless days under the sun. Its surface is not smooth in the conventional sense, but in a way that the hand recognizes and welcomes. The stone stool, damp from the morning dew, holds the chill of the earth itself. And when you sit upon it, you feel grounded, steady, as if you are part of the landscape. Here, design is never about dominating nature. It is about coexisting. The furniture and fences do not stand out as separate elements. They melt into their surroundings. Like a sentence that flows so naturally, you forget where it began. The planting in this part of the garden tells a slower story. A young pine, trained but never forced, leans ever so slightly towards the east, catching the soft light of morning. A cluster of wild grasses sways near the path, their blades whispering to each other when the wind passes. And between the stepping stones, small weeds and mosses creep in, uninvited, yet welcomed. The path curves here more dramatically. You cannot see what lies ahead, and so you walk more slowly, your mind open to what might be revealed. Around one bend, you hear it before you see it. A bamboo spout, dripping into a shallow basin. Each drop is deliberate, spaced far apart, giving you time to hear the echo before the next arrives. The sound, the texture, the sight all seem to blend. You are not just looking at the garden, you are part of its rhythm. Even your breathing seems to match the space, deepening without effort, slowing without command. A weathered lantern stands nearby, its stone softened at the edges. It is not lit, and yet it feels luminous. Perhaps it is the way light filters through the surrounding leaves, or perhaps it is the sense that objects here hold more than their material form. They hold time. This section of the garden feels particularly intimate. The bamboo fence curves closer, not to confine, but to embrace. The air is stiller here, and even the smallest sounds, the rustle of a lizard in the leaves, the creak of a bamboo stalk, become part of the garden's voice. When you sit again, whether on stone, wood, or earth, you find that silence here is not empty. It is full of small, almost invisible details, full of presence. The pattern of a leaf's veins, the way gravel settles after a step, the shifting shadow of a branch as clouds pass overhead. In such a place, you begin to understand that the value of a garden is not in how much it contains, but in how deeply it allows you to see and how gently it asks you to stay. Here, the bamboo fence and natural furniture are no longer features, they are companions, and you, without realizing, have started to match their pace. Your steps are slower, your thoughts less crowded, and in this slowing, you find a clarity that no hurried place could give. The final stretch of the Wabi Sabi garden unfolds, not as a grand finale, but as a quiet culmination. Here, the design gathers all its lessons and offers them to you without insistence, like a friend who has walked beside you for a long time and now leaves you to your own thoughts. The bamboo fence runs here in long, uninterrupted lines. Its height rises slightly, offering a deeper sense of seclusion. From a distance, it might seem plain, but as you walk alongside it, you notice the subtle irregularities, a stalk slightly thicker than its neighbour, a small crack near a knot, a strand of binding twine fraying gently at the edge. These are not flaws, they are signatures of authenticity. And the patina, that soft silver cast, holds the memory of every season it has weathered. Natural furniture in this part of the garden is sparse and purposeful. A single table rests beneath a maple, its surface marked by rings from old teacups. Its legs uneven from the shifting soil, yet steady all the same. A low bench sits near a curve in the path, positioned to face a modest arrangement of stones and moss. There is no symmetry here, no alignment that shouts of human control. Instead, it feels as though the garden and its furniture agreed long ago where each would belong. The planting is at its most restrained here. One tree, perhaps a cherry, leans delicately over the fence. Its blossoms, when they come, fall onto the path in small, pale drifts. For most of the year it is bare, yet even in that bareness it holds beauty. Nearby, a cluster of ferns grows in deep shade, their fronds catching faint glimmers of light that slip between bamboo stalks. The path narrows until it is little more than a suggestion, stones spaced far apart, patches of moss filling the space between. You must watch your step here, and in doing so, you are pulled fully into the present moment. At the heart of this final space, there is water, not a pond, not a fountain, just a shallow, stone-carved basin, holding rain from the night before. A single bamboo spout extends over it, and from its tip, an occasional drop falls. The sound is soft but clear. Each drop sends out ripples, which meet the edges and return inward. The pattern repeats endlessly, a quiet reminder of cycles and return. When you sit in this place, perhaps on the low bench, perhaps even on the ground, time loses its edge. The hours outside the garden do not press in here. The rush of the world becomes a distant murmur, and the stillness becomes not something you find, but something you remember was always within you. The bamboo fence around you, the furniture beneath you, the plants beside you, they are all teachers in patience. They show you how beauty can deepen with age, how imperfection can hold its own grace, how presence is the rarest form of elegance. And as you prepare to leave, you realize this garden will not remain as it is. The bamboo will weather more, the furniture will shift and settle, plants will grow and fade, and in each change, the garden will become more itself. You walk toward the exit slowly, your steps softer than when you arrived, your gaze lingering on small details you might have missed before. The fence curves away, the path straightens, and soon the world beyond will take you back into its pace. But something of the garden stays with you, a way of seeing, a way of moving, a way of knowing that nothing lasts, nothing is finished and nothing is perfect, and that this is where true beauty lives.